This is the soldier who defected into North Korea willingly, and there seems to be a lot of mixed feelings on whether or not anyone should care that this soldier defected into North Korea. Now, obviously, his family cares. In fact, they've even said this is not like his behavior. However, I need to report the facts, and Private King has actually gotten into a lot of trouble within South Korea. That's why many people question whether or not we should even try to get this soldier back. Now, look, we all have mixed opinions about anything in life, and if I'm going to be honest, in this current situation, I'm very torn because I'm always about America first, and I was a former soldier, and I'm always under the belief that we should always bring our soldiers back. But in this case, it's a little weird. As we go through the facts, you'll see what I mean, how I think a lot of you might have some mixed opinions on whether or not we need to be wasting resources to get this guy back, considering he willingly defected into North Korea.
More information is emerging about the US soldier who fled into North Korea on Tuesday. Court documents and a lawyer representing Travis King reveal he faced 2 assault allegations and was fined in South Korea for damaging a police car.
Okay, so off the bat, 2 assault allegations and damaging a police car. That's not good. Even stateside, if you do that as a U.S. soldier, very bad move. I mean, the very first thing they say is do not get in trouble. That's why we have so many safety briefs on the weekends, and that's why there's so many memes about military members.
That's as the US military scrambles to establish the fate of King after he made an unauthorized crossing of the inter-Korean border. A Seoul court said on September 25th last year, King punched a man in the face at a club several times, but the case was settled.
And by the way, again, so he punched a guy in the face at a club last year. So this has been a known thing that this soldier is not necessarily the best soldier in the world. So I think that's interesting to note that he's been in prison for a long time, but he's also sort of just been a troublemaker.
2 weeks later, on October 8th, police officers responded to a report of another altercation involving King and tried to question him. According to court documents, King continued with his, quote, aggressive behavior without answering questions from police. After being put in a police car, he shouted...
Which, by the way, it's funny that they say that, that they put in the report, he didn't answer questions from police. In the United States, we don't have to do that. If I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know the laws over in South Korea, whether or not they have to respond or that's seen as like an aggressive action. But to be fair, I'll stand by King on this one. I would never say anything to any police ever, whether stateside or overseas. I wouldn't say anything because you're just going to get yourself in trouble.
Expletives against Koreans, the Korean army, the Korean police, and damaged the door of the vehicle. A copy of court documents reviewed by Reuters Wednesday showed that King pleaded guilty to assault and destruction of public goods. On February 8th, the Seoul Western District Court fined him the equivalent of $4,000. A spokesman for US Forces
That's a lot of money for a private.
Korea declined to confirm whether King had been in South Korean or US military detention. One of the lawyers who represented him at the time told Reuters that King had spent time in US military detention since the October case. 2 US officials, who spoke on condition of anonymity, said the soldier had been due to face disciplinary action by the US military. Reuters was not immediately able to ascertain whether the disciplinary action was linked to his conviction over damaging the police vehicle.
Yeah, so what you have to understand is, again, we have almost 3 different jurisdictions. I mean, we have the UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice, not court-martial. And then you have South Korea's court system. And then when King comes back to the United States, he's facing possibly outside charges. So that's why I think King is sort of motivated to be like, you know what, I'm not dealing with any of this. Maybe he thinks he didn't do anything wrong. Maybe he knew about other defectors who went into North Korea. We'll get into that soon.
King's motivations for his high-stakes gambit, meanwhile, remain unclear.
Okay, so again, a quick summation about Private King. This is not me trying to slander him. This is just me providing the facts as to why there's a lot of confusion and mixed bags on whether or not we need to care about this guy and try to get him back. I mean, yes, he is a U.S. soldier, U.S. citizen, but nonetheless, North Korea sort of holds all the cards in their hands. They don't have to do anything if they don't want to. Again, so Private King, 2 assault charges, destroyed a police car, and again, in the police report, he was slandering the South Korean police, the South Korean military. For me personally, whatever, you can do that. I don't care. Maybe in that country, you're not allowed to do that. I know you definitely can't do that in Russia. Nonetheless, those are the facts, and that's kind of what's going on right now. And then the big piece of everything is that he willingly ran away and went into North Korea, which is a high-risk move for anyone who tries to chase after him. Now, here's what's actually pretty crazy. There was a picture of him taken, obviously not on purpose, on accident, of him on the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. And I think some of you didn't realize this is sort of like a tourist trap for people on South Korea and North Korea. They sort of play along of, we have border guards on one side, we have border guards on the other side, you can come and take pictures. But nonetheless, this is a legitimate military area, the DMZ. This is like one of the most dangerous places on Earth. And I know for a lot of you, this is like second grade stuff, but please stick with me. I do want to put this out there for people who don't realize this line right here is quite literally the border of South Korea, North Korea. If you cross this line, you are in North Korean hands. Like a South Korean guard or American guard can't just reach over and grab you back. They literally can't do that. So him walking over right into North Korean territory, it's not necessarily like this area was the most dangerous area to do it. And I'll show you another example where it was. He just sort of walked on over and that's it. He was in North Korean hands. Whereas this guy right here, James Droznick, who had a divorce in America, he was sent over to South Korea where he was facing a court-martial. This guy literally walked through a minefield to get to North Korea. That's how desperate he was just to get out of the hands of the US military. In fact, his story goes as he only had 3 hours left before his court-martial in South Korea, and he was just so sick of everything. Unfortunately, he fell to alcoholism, and he was becoming violent, and he said, I'm done with this, and he walked over right into North Korea. Again, through a minefield, though. That's how desperate he was to get to North Korea. Now, there's a lot of speculation on what's going to happen to Private King. Many people are saying his life is going to stink. Some people are saying his life is going to be okay. In my opinion, whether you have the greatest life in North Korea, your life still stinks because you live in North Korea. Nonetheless, the guy I just showed you, James Droznick, this is one of his sons. And what you have to realize is that a lot of American defectors who go into North Korea who were U.S. soldiers, they actually don't live the worst life. Only if they're willing to conform to North Korean ideologies. And James Droznick, the guy I just showed you, he was a movie star in North Korea and he was an English teacher. And here's one of his sons. I want to play this video to sort of give you the perspective of what happens if you conform as a U.S. citizen, as a U.S. soldier to North Korean ideologies.
아버님께서 우리들에게 당부하신 것이 있다면은 우리 경의하는 최고 용도자 김정은 원수님께 충성다하는 그런 충성동 효자동이로.
Now look, I will say this, you have to take everything with such a grain of salt coming out of North Korea. You have to assume every single thing is fake coming out of that country, but nonetheless, I still think we should play this clip.
오직 그분만을 받들어 모시는 그런 참다운 일꾼이 되기를 바라고 자식들도 그 길을 계속 빛내어 나가게끔 잘 키우라는 당부를 남기셨습니다. 만약 적들이 우리에 대한 손불질을 기어코 한다면 우리 공화국에 우리는 이 기회를 절대로 놓치지 않.
And by the way, the quote-unquote the enemy is always the United States. Always. In fact, there is a ship that North Korea was able to capture during the Korean War that is still used as propaganda. It's like one of the highest valued thing in North Korea that we captured this U.S. ship, and they're all so powerful. Again, this is like back in the 50s. Nonetheless, North Korea doesn't forget history. Everything that happened in the 50s, North Korea won that war.
미국이라는 땅덩어리를 이 지구상에서 영영 쓸어버릴 것입니다. 이것이
Here's his other son.
우리에게는 경의하는 최고사령관 김정은 원수님께서 계십니다. 우리는 원수님께서 계시면 꼭 이깁니다.
네.
Okay, so even though technically those sons are not directly U.S. soldiers, nonetheless, they were the descendant of a U.S. soldier who defected into North Korea. So they do have a little bit of royalty there where they are willing to stay loyal to the regime. You see, our regime knows what they're doing. So I'm not saying this is going to happen to Private King. However, there is evidence to show, video evidence and other people's testimonies who defected into North Korea who were former U.S. soldiers. Your life is not necessarily going to be that bad. You just have to conform. No matter what, though, your life is going to suck compared to the United States. Even if Mr. King was going to a US prison, his life would probably be better and safer in a US prison than North Korea. I am willing to make that bet. So again, in this video, I'm not the one who's trying to make it seem like we all need to hate on this private and, this private stinks, let him run away to North Korea. I leave that up to you guys. I'm just here presenting the facts. And one thing I noticed that's interesting about this news story is that a lot of times the United States loves to rally around people who've, even though they've done a crime, we still want to get them back. Like Brittany Griner in Russia, many people were like, well, we still got to get her back. This one, again, might be a little different. We have 2 assault charges within that country, and also he took out a police car, which is not good. So you guys let me know what you think. This is not me trying to slander this private. Again, I like presenting the facts, and I like showing the perspective on both sides. There's always going to be an America first side, and then there's always going to be, you know what, he ran over there, he's on his own, we're not going to waste resources, we have other things to worry about, and we should be wasting resources, time, money into other things. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is Private King. Whenever more information comes out, I'll probably make a video on it, because I think topics on North Korea, it's very hard to get unique news like this. It's always other things like North Korean propaganda and so on, whatever. They've launched something. It's the same thing over and over out of North Korea. This is a very special news story. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And my name is T-SPLY. We'll see you guys later.